Hello again to each and every single one of you wonderful people across the internet and the information superhighway to the newest edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, which I believe is episode 103, where this week of course we're discussing about all the new releases that we have for this week, a couple of trailers and a few news stories hodgepodge now and again. So let's not waste too much time in that regards and let's get to talking about all things media that did come out for this week. So on the first of the new releases for this week is seeing us hitting the beach, checking out the local scenery and catching a few waves in the process, but also having some deep struggles and meanings behind every wave, as the first of the releases has us in the water for the new film of The Surfer. The film follows a man, played by Nicolas Cage, returning to his idyllic childhood home and his local beach to return and surf in the waves of his old beach with his new son as well, but soon gets targeted and tormented by the locals, and soon leads to a spiraling of questioning oneself of is he losing his sanity or is it just all in his head? Reception on this film has seen a fair bit of well-received reception, with praise to its simple concept with a lot of layers and intricate storytelling that may be worth checking out. And if you want to see it for yourself, you can catch this wave of a film now in cinemas. But if it's a bit of horror that you're looking for instead and want to be reminiscent of times in the past of years of being afraid of funny looking people hiding out in the wilderness or local scenery, God, 2016 was such a crazy year. This one may be for you. And coming based on a novel from a few years ago, get ready to meet your new friendo, as we have the new film adaptation of Clown in a Cornfield. The film follows Quinn, a young girl who moves to the town of Kettle Springs with her father to get a fresh start after the death of her mother and to rebuild a bond with her dad. They soon learn the town has fallen in hard times after losing a treasured factory to a fire, as the locals bicker amongst themselves and tensions start piling over. In the process, a sinister grinning clown emerges from the cornfields to cleanse the town of its burdens, one bloody victim at a time. Reception on this title has also been surprisingly been given some decent reception, with praise to its elaborate story, its horror elements, kills, and just feeling like some interesting invention and well-established adaptation of a recent novel. If you want to avoid the cornfields and the creepy music box lure, then you can catch this new film out now in cinemas. As on the TV side of things for this week is seeing a return of an established story from the mind of the man that brought appeal of sci-fi, mixed opinion as to who may cause the death of a massive space franchise, and of course the mind-bending, the elaborate and highly entertaining selection of whodunits with Daniel Craig and his charming southern twang.
Oh baby, you have got the twang.
We're not talking on that yet. Hopefully a trailer soon will be out this month with Netflix to them as well, and a release date, but rather we are taking another form of a whodunit series as more of a how catch 'em, as Natasha Lyonne is back on the road and maybe on the run again and getting caught up in trouble, as we have the second season of the Rian Johnson created series of Poker Face. The series of course will continue the misadventures of Charlie Cale, a former casino employee who has this special ability to tell when someone is lying, and on the road again finding herself caught up in strange and wacky characters and guest stars that also leads to a death, murder, and ends up finding herself caught in the drama. Reception on this follow-on season, like the original, has received some great acclaim. Reception with praise to its simple murder of the week concept, its humor, its guest stars, and the charm and appeal of the series, with Natasha Lyonne proving to be a great leading lady with a knack for solving murders. Then we're up for some mystery. You can catch the first 3 episodes of the new season now on HBO Max in the US and on Sky now in the UK and Ireland, with new episodes releasing every Thursday. And on the games for this week, with the first title gives off the vibe of something with an aesthetic of a Tim Burton-like tone. That's something twisted and something dark comes this way, and molded and shaped into something with quite the appeal and form, as we have the new gothic adventure morphed in clay with the title of The Midnight Walk. In this game, you will become what is known as the Burnt One, where you will befriend a lost lantern creature named Potboy, where you will use his flame to light the way through a conflicting world of wonder and horror, where you will solve puzzles and survive the and outsmart the many monsters eager to devour your little friend's flame, as you experience 5 tales of fire and darkness. Reception on this title has been very well received, with praise to its visuals, its world building, and its simple and fun little adventure, with some issues and critiques going towards some of the difficulty levels and the puzzle depth, but it's an overall fun time, and if you're up for playing it yourself, then you can play this new title on PS5, PlayStation VR, and on PC as well. Now, this last release for this week is one that for some may not be the most well known. It may not be the most biggest or highly anticipated, but this final game for this week has something special to me in regards, as I have followed this development of the title since this game's initial inception as a final year project from a college course. And most of the architecture and building designs were developed and designed by someone that's important to me, and someone special. Most plays my heart, and watching the development of their work from inception to final build of showing over time has been exciting, as in a world of rising machines, it's time to steam some punks, as we have finally received a full final release of the new Bulletstorm-based shooter of Ventilate. The title will have you playing as Rosalind, a construction worker who must battle her way through the city overrun with corrupt machines, and using weapons powered and functioned by steam pressure, will fight her way to get back to her family and escape from this devastated city. Now, while there has not been much any in terms of reception that I can see from so far from it, I've played the original build of the game as it was provided from the initial trailers, and I've also spent some cash on this title as well. I played a little bit at launch, and I will say that it is a very well made title. Has its fun and its challenge to make an appealing title to play, and will say that the visuals of the world that was created by someone important to me look so well designed and detailed and absolutely fantastic. The character is an interesting one, and so are the enemies and bosses, and I will be playing this more in due time, and also probably doing a series on this channel of the game in the near future. And if you want to support the game and try it out for yourself, and really support those starting out with their first title and appreciate the hard work they put into it, is now available to play and buy now on Steam with PC, and you can find the link down below in the description to play. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we do have for this week. Now on to the trailers, with the first in focus for this week is bringing us back to a deep mystery. A selection of childhood challenges that have a sinister undertone to it all, and a mission to take it down from the inside and outside. As after a bit of a gap in time, and for leaving on a cliffhanger ending, we have received the first teaser trailer for the third and final season of the Korean series of Squid Game. Now in this season, we will see the continuing fight led by Seung Ji-hun, and the players face off against even more deadlier games, which have all seen some dire consequences than the last, while In-ho, or Number 1, welcomes the VIPs back to the island for the final events, while his brother of Jun-hoo continues his search for the hidden island, while unaware of a traitor amongst his team. So it's a case that this series has really taken the world by storm. When initially first released back in 2021, and the hype for the fall was expected, and after leaving on a grim and uncertain cliffhanger, the likes of the stakes are about to rise even higher than expected, with characters we have grown attached to in the last season on the verge of losing everything and their lives in one fell swoop. But from the brief tease shown here, it is getting me excited to see how this all comes to an end, and hopefully it will be a satisfying conclusion as well, but we will find out real soon, as we'll be seeing the end of the games in just a little over a month's time on June 27th on Netflix. And as for the first of the two game trailers for this week, start off with a surprise drop release of something that I had touched on just last week in terms of talking about a delay, but I guess this will do for making up for its delay in regards, as it's soon time to return to the sunny town of Vice City after a very long time away, and learn of a new pair of criminals looking to take down a corrupt system, as out of nowhere this week we received the second trailer for the upcoming highly anticipated video game of Grand Theft Auto 6. The plot for this has also been given with the trailer, with the game set in Vice City, and you will play as Jason and Lucia, who have always known that the deck was stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest part of America, in the middle of a conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida. Forced to rely on each other more than ever, if they want to make it out alive. So it's all going down. So to say this game has been anticipated release has been an understatement, as it's been a long time coming, and everyone has been waiting for more new looks at the title and for getting their hands on the game in some form or another. And it's finally been presented a new look, and I have to say it looks so damn incredible. The realism, the scope, the aesthetic, the soundtrack, beautiful. It all looks phenomenal. And it gives me hype that the 8-year development since Red Dead 2's release in 2018 and the conceptualizing of this game since 2014 has been well worth it. Now, while we do have a bit of a delay announced to it recently, I'm sure it will be worth the wait, as the game is confirmed for the moment for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S for May 26, 2026. And likely case we'll probably get a PC port around the same time or like a little after, and then probably a questionable one if there's going to be a Switch 2 version, but the latter one is probably more of an uncertain. The next trailer for this week is seeing us take to the skies to a return of a new live action take on a film that was well beloved and really defined the focus of adaptation. And in this instance, it's not one to come from the usual group of Disney, and in this instance it's the rival affair of DreamWorks, as in the likes of what I feel is the last trailer and the IMAX focused trailer for the upcoming live action adaptation to How to Train Your Dragon. The film will follow the story of the original movie that will tell the story of Hiccup, the son of the Viking chief of the island of Berk, who had a bit of a dragon problem, and in the process of a recent attack unexpectedly captures the fabled Night Fury dragon, where he will soon befriend it and name it Toothless, and will soon learn the secrets of all there is to learn about these species and change the course of Viking and dragon history in the process. So it's expected at a certain point that they were going to give a focus trailer to the big part of what appealed to the original movie, and that was the likes of the flying scenes of this film, and going to so hard in IMAX for sure will probably be a thing in this. And from what I've shown in this case, it does look amazing. I'm sure with the visual spectacle and it may explain the extra 20 minutes of the film footage of the original movie, and from hearing early reactions of this film from CinemaCon that we are in for something special. And in this case, we don't have to wait too long as well, as this film will be flying into cinemas in just under a month's time on either June 9th or June 13th. The next of the trailers that we have from the focus for this week is taking another project based on being an adaptation of a classic novel, book, or story. And in this instance, I'm not fully sure if this is one has been adapted before, is the first novel written by an author that has had so many of his famous novels adapted to screens, big and small, as we've gotten the trailer for the adaptation of horror author Stephen King's very first novel of The Long Walk. Now, the film is set in an alternate dystopian United States that is ruled by a totalitarian regime, where we will see a group of young men entering an annual walking contest where they must walk at least 3 miles per hour without stopping, or they will be warned before they are shot and killed, and the continued walk does not stop until one boy is left alive. So it's a case that the likes of horror with some titles or stories from King doesn't always have to entail some sinister entity like a shape-shifting clown, a rabid dog, or a child with some mind-reading type powers. And rather, it can be a simple sinister form of walking contest that gives a bit of a Hunger Games type vibe, which coincidentally the film is also being directed by the guy who made the Hunger Games movies. And what I can get from the trailer gives off the complete vibe of telling what to expect. The tension and suspense that can come from this, I think overall it looks really interesting. And I'll probably give it a look at when the film release makes its walk all the way into the cinemas from September 12th of this year. Now for something with a bit more of a tone and vibe, something with style and class, and something with a little bit of a raw sex appeal, mystery, and looking damn good while doing it. As one of the Coen brothers is back to follow on from his likes of his movies of No Country for Old Men and last year's Drive Away Dolls to bring a new mystery comedy to the table with the trailer for the new film of Honey Don't. The film will follow Honey O'Donoghue, that's played by Margaret Qualley, a private investigator for this small town who gets herself delving deep into a mystery and series of strange deaths that all seem to be tied to a super suspicious religious cult that is led by the sex-crazed but persuasive leader of Drew, that's played by Chris Evans. So it's a case that you can tell by some of the Coen's films that they have such a distinct aura to them that you can't help but get drawn into. The star cast of this film have Qualley and Evans, and even some others like Aubrey Plaza, Charlie Day, Billy Eichner, and many more will bring some vast appeal to the likes of this film. I also have a sense of being a little sexy, a little cheeky, and full of some charm and appeal, and I'm intrigued to see how this will all come about in the end. And I'm sure with its premiering at the end of this month at Cannes, it could be a big success, but I guess we'll see by then. I'm sure we'll give the film a look when it releases in the cinemas from August 22nd of this year, I believe. The last film trailer for this week is seeing a bit of truth to the story, unless you would be a skeptic to the paranormal. A series based on case-to-case basis for 2 well-known investigators, and a sense of the horrors and terrors that they have faced are about to be brought to the forefront once again, as the tales of Ed and Lorraine Warren are back for one more final case, and their own final case in particular that they ever did, as we have received the trailer for the final entry of the Conjuring series with The Last Rites. But every entry in this series is based on a true case, so in this instance, investigation back in 1986, and following their infamous Smurl case, which saw a family being tormented in other forms of threats and danger from a demon that was a presence in their home for more than a decade. Now, in the likes of some of the cases, a few are well known with these investigators, like the original film and their investigation to the haunting in Enfield in the UK back in the 70s or early 80s, to the more obscene or crazy ones like the last entry, which was helping in a court case of someone pleading their killing was basis of demonic possession. They've always have something to them that I'm intrigued to see, and I'm interested to see what may come from this. I'm interested to see how this will all come to an end, but we'll see when this final case releases in the cinemas from September 5th of this year. Our only TV series trailer for this week is bringing the meaning of what it means to be a hero into question. But in the basis when a conflict arises, the hero is about to bring a new heavy dosage of peace. As after a few years since the first season and the basis of figuring into the new universe established, we have finally received a trailer for the upcoming second season of the DC Comics character of Peacemaker. This season will see Chris, or Peacemaker, continue on his journey of becoming a vigilante superhero with his new team known as the 11th Street Kids, while also dealing with struggles to reconcile with his past and newfound sense of purpose while continuing his quest to kick righteous evildoer ass in his misguided quest for peace at any cost, and also dealing with the threat of being hunted down by one Rick Flag Sr. for the death of his son. So it's a case the original first season was actually a surprise smash hit and had a banger of an opening title logo as well, and coming from an already great film that introduced the character, that was an entertaining romp, and for to see a character that was an asshole in the film become somewhat sympathetic in the end and someone you root for and all by the end of it all, I'm all for season 2 of this. Now the real question I do have is how this is going to rework and establish this character into the new DCU canon, and given their appearance is from a new there's appearance from new heroes of Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner and Rick Flag Sr. is interesting, but we'll see if these will be acknowledged as confirmation with the DCU Aquaman and Flash, but I'm sure they will work this out in the season, and it's not too long away as well, as the season is supposedly releasing on HBO Max and hopefully Sky now on August 21st of this year. The last of the trailers for this week, and the second of the game trailers, is a return to a time of the past, to come across the legacy and story of one established family and telling the legacy that builds the overall narrative of this popular game series, as we received an all-new gameplay trailer from PAX on the new game of Mafia, The Old Country. The game takes place before the events of the original game, and set in the early 20th century in Sicily, during the regime of Mussolini, with the title being the rise and formation of the Sicilian Mafia, where you will play as Enzo Favara, as you will see and experience his journey from his childhood indentured labor in the sulfur mines to becoming a valiant member of the Torresi crime family. So this series definitely has some level of appeal and foundation, as the likes of its popularity has been seen for years with Love the Original all those years ago, and their appealing follow-ups to a return of love and a lot more of new fans with the recent First Tales remake and trilogy editions for next-gen consoles. And from the looks of this one, it honestly looks fantastic visually and could be a really great story that these games are known for, and I feel will fill a void for waiting for the next GTA, and being modestly affordable as well, which I think should be a pattern for some other studios. And we don't have to wait too long to wait for this either, as the new title will be releasing on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC from August 8th of this year. And now with all of that, that's all the trailers that we do have for this week.
Hi.
Now this first story is one I want to kind of try and keep brief in terms of discussion at hand and get straight to the point, and I believe I mentioned this a few weeks ago of this being a possibility that was being considered by the Academy, but it seems this week that they have decided to make it an actual thing, and the decision for this is really stupid. Now what I'm alluding to is that a few short weeks ago, when I was talking about the Oscars adding a stunt category to the awards, and that the voters had now required to watch all the movies nominated to make it a more fair and decision-based category, so it's not all one-sided, I did bring up a mention that the Academy were considering letting films made with AI as a consideration for the award show, and I said that decision on this was completely stupid. Well, it seems my opinions were not listened to on that, which is not the first time and seems to be the usual for me anyway, and they have now mentioned that the Academy is allowing films that were made with AI that could be considered for winning awards, and I find the decision of the films to be a really bad and dumb decision in general. It notice be one case that they've taken the likes of stunt performers and crews like that this decades to finally get their award recognition at the Oscars, and should get a few more than just one category, and get like ones for like stunt performers and crews and other categories inspired by one personally, and yet the likes of AI is being made more established and more focused in the last like 5 years and gets an option straight away, which just seems so belittling. But on the other issue I see from this, and some others have also said, is that they will bring a lot of mess to it, and even say they would be soulless in terms of fully finalized productions. We've always heard the usual fare in the modern media market of films such as that Hollywood is out of ideas based on the franchises, genres, and reboots aplenty, but there's still plenty of originality out there. But the likes of just saying AI, which is so far from being functional, and may I say waste so much energy, resources, and money to run, to try and make movies, is, as I mentioned, just going to make things soulless and put so many people in the industry out of a job, when this was a whole reason why there was the strikes from the actors, writers, and even right now with game studios there's a bit of reason for it. They were going against AI taking their jobs. Like, there's been instances where some festivals in the UK I've heard had tried to allow some films that were written by AI to be screened, but many complained and they pulled it from release because of the demand. So if there was a complaint for that end, how are they going to work out this whole things with these award shows? Now, I do hope they will not be focused on every film that uses it and make things feel so lazy, but hopefully we will get this to be voted, or they actually realize it's a dumb idea. But then again, it is the Academy, so it's hard to say on their choices are being decently good in that regards. But I want to know what you think of these choices from the Academy. Do you see this as being a functional idea, or is this whole thing a complete disaster and needs to be avoided? And what is your opinion about AI in general? Let me know what you think down below in that regards. Our next story in focus is a little bit of some news in relation to gaming, that we have a new long-awaited addition to a popular title, a release of a classic game on a surprising new hardware, and a possible adaptation in a way that could bring some array of appeal in the process. Let's delve into discussing about those gaming news that we do have from learning of this week. So first, we'll go with the update to a popular game of killer against a group of survivors, and this is to do with the popular multiplayer title of Dead by Daylight. Now, over the years since its release, it has seen a share of killers and survivors of original creations for the game itself, and seen its share of crossovers with other franchises of horror, including, of course, of Stranger Things with a Demogorgon, Scream with Ghostface, Halloween with Michael Myers, and Castlevania with Dracula or Alucard, just to name a few. But if there was one franchise that many have been wondering when we were going to get a crossover with, and many say have been critically teasing for a lot of time in the most recent updates of the last few years, it was the popular series of Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, after being announced in the works since August of last year during FNAF's 10th anniversary, we finally got the unveiling of a new crossover this week with the confirmation of a new map based on Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and the introduction of a new killer in the form of the popular character of Springtrap, or William Afton as most people will know him. And the basis is a mix of both the game version with the design and the option of the film version as well, with the confirmation that Mafia himself, who plays Springtrap in the film, will also be lending his voice to the character. Now, I think it's a great move on their end to get him for this, and I can see this working with a long while promotion for the upcoming sequel that comes out this December, and I'll give this a try as well at some point to see how he functions. It also came to me to feel like this could have a way, like if he's Springtrapping this now, they could also get him as his version of Ghostface from Scream, but also could work as a survivor of Mafia Lillard if they make him a form of like the crossover with Scooby-Doo and have Lillard play his version of Shaggy again, but I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself. I'm sure it would be worth a try, and you could play the character that always comes back when this update launches on May 25th for consoles and PC with this version of the game. Next on the list is one that I didn't expect to hear make a jump to a new console or in general, and we just a rumor amongst the grapevine, but it looks like the likes and exclusivity of series may be starting to become a thing of the past. Personally, I'm all for the likes of sharing titles amongst systems and the people play with whatever form they want to play instead of being ridiculed for liking one thing or playing something else is wrong. As was announced this week that the popular series of Gears of War is getting a new remaster or remake of the first game in this series, with it confirmed to be coming for Xbox Series X and S, PC, and for the first time on PlayStation with a PS5 version, and confirmed for release on August 26th of this year. Now, the series of games I see as being very popular, and the first title was pretty entertaining, so I don't mind trying it out again on a new coat of paint and even see how it works with all those other systems to focus, and hopefully we'll see more exclusive games for different consoles make the jump to other hardware over time. Now, I know Nintendo's will still keep their franchise in Nintendo, but their third-party exclusives will probably be more open to share, and hopefully most PlayStation fans will not moan and complain about their exclusives on their hardware as they tend to do when it goes to PC, but we can see how the first one goes about once we all geared up for the battle in late August of this year. But the last of the gaming related news for this week is one that has appeared from out of nowhere, and the concept may be ambitious, but it could be worth seeing made. Now, earlier this week there was reports that the film distribution company of A24 has been in talks and possibly planning to develop and make a full film adaptation of the award-winning game from Software of Elden Ring, with their focus of director and possible writer being in the form of Warfare, Ex Machina, and Civil War director Alex Garland to helm the project itself. Now, the likes of this sounds really ambitious for sure, and seeing this being made as something will be quite the feat. I've heard a discussion that the likes of this will be the most expensive project for A24 to date, and I can see it work if they make sure that the likes of the lore, the narrative, which could be all over the place, and everything else is given the love and respect it deserves in the process. A film version may work, but I can also see this work as a mini-series to really flesh out the world, the lore, the characters, and everything, but I'm sure we'll, in conjunction with the creators of the title in particular, to make it faithful and acclaimed as it can be. Now, if I could personally suggest an idea to it, but I doubt if it would be an option, but I would make it like an animated film that the likes of tone and style, something to say like War the Rohirrim art style, but also mixed with a bit of the unique mixed media the likes of Spider-Verse had established, because this world would look so gorgeous and visually amazing in animation, but I guess we'll see about that when it comes to the project overall. Now, at the moment, I believe this is just a rumor going about for the time being, but nothing has been finalized, but once I do hear any updates about this, I shall bring it up in a later episode. But what do you think about this announcements or games? Are you excited for a FNAF Dead by Daylight crossover? Will you be trying out the new Gears remaster on the new consoles or even for PlayStation? And would you be interested in watching a new Elden Ring movie? And who would you get to make it if you had the choice of director and for casting productions? Let me know what your thoughts down below, and we can discuss about more of these down there. And the last of stories for this week is a little bit of a hodgepodge collection of some other stories that were announced for this week, but we just didn't have the collection to give for some separate stories, and decided to just put them all into a little quick roundup piece together, just one entry. So without wasting time, let's delve into what we're talking about these pieces are in particular. So first is some stories selection of new release dates to come to us from Warner Bros, with 3 upcoming projects for a new release over the next 2 years. The first of these dates is with the announcement that the next film in the Evil Dead series with Evil Dead Burn has found a release date of July 24th, 2026, and has a lead star with Dune 2 star Sohaila Yacoub, which I can see having the appeal and hopefully will just be as well received and well liked as the last entry of Rise in 2023. The next announcement was with a new film from the director of the plot twist with M. Night Shyamalan's next movie with Warner Bros, known as Remain, which is a supposed romantic thriller with Jake Gyllenhaal in the lead, has a new release date for October 23rd, 2026, which will be interesting to see what he'll do with the twist or romantic thriller type story, or if there is one in general, and will be quite the week of competition as it will be going up against Jordan Peele's next directorial film debut on that weekend. Next on the release date announcements with the change and official date for the upcoming Lord of the Rings film of The Hunt for Gollum, now has an official date of December 17th, 2027, coming off a recent delay announcement that was supposed to be moved out of next year, which is fair to do and have it all laid out and structured, make sure it's all well good, and Andy Serkis is available to get back in the mocap suit and behind the director's chair for this and get it all made and stuff, and see how it all comes about in due time with all this. Now, I'm sure they'll have their fans in some sense of appeal, but we can see in due time with these film releases real soon to see if they will work out. The next of the stories is one that is being eyed and considered to take the reins of a new film, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But with the recent and continued success of the latest Marvel film of the Thunderbolts, it seems to be a case that Marvel is hoping to continue working with the director of Jake Schreier again in the future, and it seems they might want to have him for another big team in focus. According to some sources in discussion, it seems to be a case that Marvel is eyeing Jake for the directing duties of the X-Men film they have in mind, which personally, after seeing the recent film, I could see him work and make it work of characters that would not be the most well known or some familiar faces making a presence in the MCU would be interesting. I think he's proved his worth to do it. Now in all case, I'm hoping that besides him taking the reins with a good writing team, production crew, and a solid cast for young rising stars to play the mutants to give their ideal plan of 10 years of focused chance, and in case if it's not up for it, there's always a chance of letting anyone have a second chance to direct a film. I would say let Edgar Wright have a crack at this team of mutants, and I'm sure either one will appeal in due time. Now of course at the moment it's not finalized, but once I do hear anything about this one as well, I shall update in a later episode in case it has been confirmed. And the last of the focus stories with the return of another familiar face, with this one being a bit more foul-mouthed, and that's with the focus of the character of Ted. Now we have recently seen him make a return recently last year with an all-new prequel TV series that was actually surprisingly entertaining and quite funny to watch in some parts, and while we wait to hear a word about the release of its second season, it looks like it's not the only TV series based form we will be seeing of this character. As was announced, we will be getting an animated follow-on based on the character being a sequel to the second film that came out about 10 years ago, with the confirmation that Seth MacFarlane, Mark Wahlberg, Amanda Seyfried, and some other familiar faces from the cast will be involved with this project. Now in most cases, I will see this just being in a similar style to the likes of Family Guy and American Dad with animation, given it's also Seth's shows that he created, so it's likely going to be in that art style as well, or just cross over with those shows. Now I hope we'll have the appeal of the recent series and does not affect the second season for that, but I'm sure we will learn more about the continuing project over time when it does come along. But I want to know what you think of these random stories. Are any of these films seem exciting to you in particular? Do you think Schreier is a solid choice for the X-Men film, or who would you choose for it? And would you watch this new animated form of Ted, and do you think it will be good? Let me know what you think of these down below, and with all of that, that's all the news stories that we do have for this week. And in case now with all of that, this ends episode 103 of Weird Mind Newsroom. I do hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings for probably well over 30 minutes at this point, but I have no idea. Anyways, let's delve into just a quick fire discussion of what some new updates we'll be expecting on this channel. So in case we'll start with reviews in this. Last of Us review is coming along well enough. I'm just going to get into the episode stuff now, so they should hopefully I'm going to aim to have this done this week and hopefully record it by the end of the week and maybe upload it by the end of the month. So maybe around the time the season 2 finale starts, which is in 3 weeks or something. So we'll see in that regards. And then a few other the short ones I had in mind. I'm going to make the YouTube shorts about 1 minute to 3 minutes long. I'm sort of planning them out. I'm going to find the time to do it. Just going to have them written out and quick fire recording stuff. Just apologies on the lack of videos in that regards. I'm just mentally spiraling out of control in some regards. Just some days are better than others, and I'm just not really in the right mindset mentally to do a lot of this stuff. So just bear with me in that regards. But anyways, yeah, those will be coming along, as well as the long form like reviews and normal length reviews and all that stuff, so look forward to them. Gameplay wise, I didn't get really any gameplays to record this week as well. I was planning to, I just didn't have the time, or I was just exhausted. But I will get back to doing some more gameplay stuff of like, Outlaws, Cyberpunk, Mario Wonder, the Outlast DLC, and as well as I mentioned as well, Ventilate came out this week, so like the case, I'm going to do a PC gameplay of that. I'm going to do a like full series of it, like just show the support and love for that game as well, and give nice reviews for it. And I will say as well to go support the game and just, play it for yourself. If you like something simple, like something entertaining, and for like just a chance of something new from like a upcoming studio, then I would recommend that. And in any case, with some long form stuff as well, the rewatch fun is coming along, the AI video is coming along, the audience choice one, and the horror must bore and everything, all these other long form stuff will be coming along. It just, as I said, my headspace is not really there. Yeah, I'm a bit tired now, so just apologies in this case, and I'm just all over the place today, so bear with me. But yeah, with all of that, I think I should leave the episode there for now. So if you enjoyed my content, like to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new stuff every single week. As a case, still aiming for the end of this month, maybe even like get 400 summons, but even reaching as far as 500 will be amazing, but we can aim for at least 400. It'll be so great as well. And then hopefully for 1k by the end of the year, but we can see in that regards as we journey along. Let me know your thoughts of everything that was discussed this week, from like your opinions about if you've seen any new releases and what your thoughts on them are, your opinions on the trailers, and your thoughts about these news stories, and we can talk about them down below in the script, into the comments and stuff like that, so you can check them out there, and you can check out my other stuff in the description as well, so look forward to that in case. But yeah, that's where I basically leave it now for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things and keeping you, because no one else can do what you do. Now, of course, I've been your host, Sam. I will hopefully be more well structured, more slowed down, and more focused next week, but I apologize for this messiness. But thank you all being amazing people, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, and I'll see you later.